Hello, everyone. So I have a brief message for you guys today. Welcome. Whenever you are tuning in and watching this as a replay, or if you're going to join now, welcome, welcome. My name is Jordan Johnson from jojoempathic.com. I'm a psychic medium and medical intuitive. And today I have a message on the forces that guide us. Okay, so this is going to be deep. We love to talk about angels. We love to talk about the light and heaven and ascended masters, but we tend to avoid the fact that there is a duality that comes with spirit, that spirit is. There is not just there are not just angels, there are also demonic energies as well. And they're both the forces of nature and they're both the forces of creation. In the third dimension, we have both. They both exist. We may see the angelic side as more of the high vibrational energies, the healing entities, the higher frequencies that are rooted in love, rooted in peace, community, togetherness, no judgment, coming together. And then the opposite we see, we could describe demonic energy as maybe destructive, the opposite of building, the energy that takes things down or takes things away, that causes disharmony, disease, war, suffering, pain. Okay, but they're both just forces. As we spiritually awaken, we understand that darkness helps to shape us higher. Darkness is one of the greatest teachers that we have. The darkness within ourselves is something that we don't want to ignore, we don't want to overlook, we want to integrate. The darkness that we see in the world, we want to alchemize, we want to empathize with the victims of darkness to do better, to create more harmony. So we need both. And I think that it's often disregarded that we have the power of choice within us to operate through these forces. And so this message is really about holding up a mirror to yourself and realizing that these forces can and do live within you and to different degrees and to different heightened levels of suggestibility that we can work through. So, for example, one may consider their demonic energy or their dark force energy or their shadow or their lower energy self as a part of them that pushes them to lie, a part of them that pushes them to steal, a part of them that um, is a bit manipulative, never would do real physical harm to someone, but this part of themselves as a shadow or a lower energy does tend to lead them because it helps them to get ahead. It helps them to energy manipulate and be able to win. And this is really common. And because this person doesn't really go out and hurt people or, you know, cause physical violence, the human or the person saying, okay, this is fine. This is just a part of me. This helps me to win. If we're looking from a higher state of consciousness, this is someone operating through their dark side. So that's a very common example. If you can be honest with yourself, how many times a part of you will step in and say, "Oh, just lie," to help you to get ahead. It's a little white lie. It's not really going to do harm. It'll help you to win this situation or the argument. That is your dark side because the force of nature that weakens you energetically is your lower dark force energy. Your higher energy strengthens you. Lower energy within you weakens you because the higher vibration is all about empowerment and the lower vibration is all about disempowerment, disharmony, and fragmentation, separation, and lack. So the dark energy within you, it plays with your consciousness. And it will be up to you to recognize that this part of you is stepping forward. You have signs and symbols from your body, from your spirit team that let you know you're playing in this part of you today. This may end up destroying what you've created. This may end up emotionally hurting someone else. This part of you, when you operate through this lens, may end in you losing your career, a relationship, something material. But how many times do you still choose to operate through that part of you? That's the question today from Spirit. Is that every moment that we are living, you have to be mindful. You have to have self-awareness of what part of you you're working through. Is this what's stepping forward when I speak? Who is influencing my mind? Which part of me is influencing my mind? Is this my inner child that needs love, validation, self-acceptance? Is this more of my darker side that likes to manipulate so that I can get ahead? We have to have discernment of our spirit, our soul, and our energy that is leading our vessel. And this will help you to be more empowered and clear as an individual. Okay. So it's a choice. And we all have both of these sides. And if we can look at the human, us as humans, with both of these forces or duality, we can be more accepting of other people. We can be more forgiving of other people when they hurt us, when they make a mistake, because we understand that they're just human working towards integration. And when we have friendships or family members that are just always kind of off, always manipulating, always hurting other people, when we're in this higher state of consciousness, we can begin to see energetically and spiritually who's running this vessel. Is this person possessed? Is this person operating through their inner child? Is this person operating through a fragmented part or wounded part of themselves? And that's where we can find more compassion for people. So when we develop our spirituality and spiritual discernment and medical intuition too, we begin to hold more space for more people. Our capacity to serve gets larger when we stop blaming other people or seeing them as enemies, seeing them as separate from ourselves. We love to think, oh, God created angels. Well, God created demons too, right? So both are useful. Both are forces of creation. And if we can get into this mindset, I think that we're going to love each other more. We're going to see that, let's say with politics going on right now, we can see clearly that this person is operating in demonic energy. This person has fallen, as the biblical story of the fall, has fallen from grace, fallen from love, fallen from harmony, from unity. And then it will direct our prayer more intentionally and more powerfully when we are praying for more world peace, when we are praying for more political leaders that are not just motivated by greed or one world orders, and limiting human rights that guide us. You have to see people for just who they are as this dual natured self, as well as seeing yourself. And this will help us with spiritual discernment. So understand that the shadow is not evil. Understand that evilness does exist, and it is a force that truly, truly wants to siphon and harvest lower frequency energy like pain, suffering, fear. There is a difference between evilness and the darkness that makes you up. Because a lot of us, we are not really evil. We're not really operating in evilness. It's more of a small minority of people, energies on Earth. Although it may seem like this whole world is like rooted in evil, once you get into this fifth dimensional mindset and see yourself and others this way, you realize that people are really trying and operating to do good for themselves and their family. People are trying to succeed. People are trying to look out for one another. At the end of the day, the evilness is a small percent that actively is going out and manipulating in high places, and let's say even public places like a lot of the churches where there is a lot of harm towards children. The church is notorious for that. We find a lot of evilness in congregations of spirituality or religion, right? We see it I mentioned politics. We also see it in the medical field, a lot of evilness, and those that are just fixated on genetics and manipulation of the gene and heredity, and that are into biological warfare. Okay, there's a lot of evilness there. So we see it in these different sectors of the world. Among us as humans, we're not necessarily the evil ones. Yes, we have a shadow. Yes, we have a dark side, but it's completely different than those that are, they're in these higher places that are trying to steal and siphon and harvest energy. Now, you might be saying, well, I have a neighbor next door that's, he harms his loved ones and children and going on and on and on. So we do see evilness more among the community, more at a lower level, or people that aren't operating in control of the world and politics. So yes, our neighbors can be evil. Yes, people around us can be evil. This message is to really trigger you to think and see yourself and other people, to even your enemy, because often we are just attracting what is from a mirror from ourselves. Your relationships mirror yourself. You're aligned with people that you are operating on the same frequency with. So when you see this person and you're so quick to judge them, and you're so quick to make note of how dirty and messy their house is and their car is, this is a reflection in some way of you. And that's important to recognize. Okay. So when you're in this space, you have to understand that you're not the only one here. And the things that you're seeing with your 3D eyes is not necessarily all that actually exists. It's a small percent of what is reality. We are operating through illusions. We are operating through a temporary, forever changing space and reality and dimension, the third dimension. Okay, we have to remember that there's more to it. There's beyond the flesh, there's soul, there's spirit. We have spiritual eyes, we have spiritual ears, we've got senses that are tuned into the multidimensional brain that help us to discern the energies we're interacting with. And that's important to realize. This is an illusion. There is more here. You have to humble yourself and have some sort of ego integration or ego death to realize that you may not know it all. You may not see clearly at times. You may have given into the illusion. You may not be really as woke as you think you are. That's when you start to really experience the grace of your angels. This is when your angels really start to work through you and speak through you more profoundly. Have you ever had a been brought to your knees moment, or a come to Jesus moment, where it's like you're just completely humbled by the universe, and you feel almost at a time like you're broken, or that everything's, you've lost so much? These are the moments that really build integrity. These are the moments through these darkness that the angels really shine through and work through us and for us. And so we can't be afraid of these moments of chaos or darkness, because they are truly shaping us into more high vibrational beings. They are truly moving us and lifting us into a higher direction. So it's important to ask for prayer. It's important to pray. It's important to give yourself grace and to give others grace, especially during these times on earth. And you also have to know your spiritual nature. You have to know that when you're going against yourself, which is what is a true sin. A sin isn't, going against some man on a throne in the sky that says we should live a certain way, or the laws of man through religion saying we should live a certain way. When we sin, we're going against our own nature, our own higher mind. This is the greatest sin, is when you don't love yourself, when you don't have love and respect for yourself, because you are a fragment of God, a fractal. You are a representation of the goddess or God. Okay. So when you break your laws, your spiritual laws, when you break the laws of energy, when we aren't learning our lessons, when we're operating through our dark force self, our wounded selves that we're ignoring and letting linger and guide us. This is when there is disharmony. This is when there's disorder. So all diseases are coming from, yes, the physical reality chemicals, but also consciousness. And that is a choice. So your self-awareness and awareness of the energy around you is consciousness. So when we go against ourselves, we're going against the laws of nature, the laws of energy, laws of art from our own spiritual book of what is and what shouldn't be, and our own moral code and ethical code. This is where we have disease. This is where we have disharmony in our lives. So the healing message and how we get back on track is through simply self-awareness and self-regard, sitting with your spirit team, sitting with your angels, and asking, having a point and moment of self-reflection. Where did I go against myself? Where did I sin against me and my own heart? Where am I not loving myself enough? Where am I not giving love to others enough? And you will begin to track or target the source of where the disease is coming from, this disharmony is coming from. And sometimes it may be chemical. Once you sit and become reflective, your spirit team, your soul may say, well, you're in a toxic environment. It's stressing you out. You're not managing stress well, and you're eating all of this toxic food. So now you have a disease stemming from what you've brought to your mouth. Or is the disease or disharmony coming from the chemical, or is it your consciousness? So when you're giving yourself this space to be reflective and your own medical intuitive, your own psychic medium, you might start to see, well, I was just, in this relationship with my spiritual eyes closed. I know this partner is karmic. I know this partner is toxic to me and with me. So when I'm operating through this dark force within me, with this person, now there's disharmony. Now I'm upset. Now I'm fragmented. Now there's trauma, accident, illness, and we spiral from there. So you have to sit down and reflect with yourself. Is it the chemical or is it consciousness? And a lot of times the consciousness is what leads to the chemical imbalance. Because if we are at a higher state of consciousness, even though you're stressed, you may not be led to just go pick up the alcohol and further the escape. So a lot of times this is reminding me of when we have dreams of us running from this place, running to this house and room, and running from people. We're running from ourselves. So a higher level of consciousness requires a high level of self accountability and responsibility. It's a level of empowerment to say, I have a choice and I made a choice. And we like to say the word sleep. I wasn't very woke. I wasn't very present in my body when I made that decision. I was operating through my dark force side, my shadow, my inner child that's wounded, the part of me that always wanted acceptance from mom, the part of me that always wanted acceptance from dad. And this is where we begin to really make significant changes in our health and our lives. You also have to be honest, because this is human nature too, about the things that you're so gung-ho aggressive about, the things that you are so against. You have to make sure that you don't become it. And I like to give the example of like MAGA. Okay, I'm very anti-MAGA. But when I have discernment and I'm grounded, I have to be sure that I'm not becoming what I'm against. If this is making sense to you guys, drop a comment, let me know. Because you very easily can become very hateful. And that's why I'm against them. They're hateful. You see where I'm going? They're aggressive. Now I'm aggressive about being anti-MAGA. They're divisive. Now I'm divisive about this or towards this group of people. That's what we have to always check ourselves with to make sure that we're not becoming what we're standing against. This is 5D consciousness. This isn't the heart chakra. This is the higher heart chakra. This is unconditional love, because you can love through your heart, but it's conditional. And that's also human nature. So when we go above and higher, this is where we begin to see the oneness in everything, in all things. The last part of this message that I'll conclude with is, I think, being real and honest with yourself with the capacity of darkness that you can stand up against. If you are in the healing arts and you're watching this will really ring home for you. For me, as a Reiki master, but I think of specifically entity clearing when I help with individuals to clear spiritual attachments and to clear entities that are latched on to their aura field or within them, so possessions. I get reminded very clearly. I get faced with myself to have to do a self check-in and say, am I even strong enough to stand and be in a space with this darkness? And this is really important because I think that a lot of us, and if you're a healer that's tuned in, we just show up in let's say the medical field. We show up and we work with patients that are clearly dealing with entities and demonic activity. And then all of a sudden we're drained. We go home with a headache, a stomach ache, we're sick, we're exhausted. It's like we have to always have this check in with ourselves. Are you even strong enough to be working in this environment? Bringing it back home to the healing arts. I have healers write into me often about they feel called to go into spiritual clearing and that they've, witnessed demonic activity their whole lives. But then when it's time to show up and go through the pruning process that it takes to even be strong enough to work in this field, this is where people start to take step backs. And this is where we start to go into the karmic loops that really work through our character development. So if you are someone that is faced with let's say demonic energy often, you're someone that helps people to clear themselves, you're in the healing medical field, you have to really focus on your connection with your higher source, your angels. You have to be reflective on, am I even strong enough to show up today? Do I need to give myself more self-nurture, more self-care? Do I need to pray longer this morning before I go into work? You probably do. Do I need to fast from something that's pulling my mind away from the truth and my focus and concentration? You may have to. So the more self-reflective and aware we become, the stronger we are in our personal hygiene, our energetic hygiene, and our connection with our angels, with that high vibrational part of ourself. And as we go through our journey, baby step by baby step, we become more rooted and convicted in this higher version of ourself. This is when the high vibrational parts of ourselves step in and say, aha, nope, that's the other part of you stepping in and telling you to just go and just give that session even though you're exhausted. Just go and lie because it'll help you to get ahead. It's a little white lie, it doesn't matter. The more you have this awareness and you practice this, you will operate from this higher version of yourself and you'll become more integrated and you won't be just ruled by the part of you that just wants to win through greed, take through manipulation, and hurt. We end up hurting other people through this unconsciousness within us or this lower part of ourselves. And it's usually not even intentional. We just are operating through the wounded part of us trying to get a need met. So if this message made sense to you, please drop a comment. I want to hear from you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And if you are a healer, maybe you are interested in getting into the healing arts, work with me. I train healers as in quantum healing, psychic surgery, which is the psychic removing of disease, and Reiki. So I also teach from a place of remote work and remote psychometry. So, and during my training program, I will help you to be able to accurately tune into objects, is where we start. That will strengthen you as a healer in remote healing. So we start with an object and then we can go ahead and remotely target people to work with in our healing arts. So hopefully this was helpful. I want to hear from you guys. Check out my website, jojoempathic.com, and sign up for my healing program. I want to work with you guys. Thanks so much.